Hello, my name is Josiah Hall, and this is the City Reformed Presbyterian Church in Pittsburgh's reading plan for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, through the Gospel of Matthew. Today's passage is Matthew chapter 2, verses 13 through 23. I'll first read the passage, and then I'll provide some thoughts. I'll be reading from the ESV translation. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, and said, Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child, to destroy him. And he rose, and took the child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet, Out of Egypt I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious, and he sent and killed all the male children in Bethlehem, and in all that region, who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and loud lamentation. Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be comforted, because they are no more. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in the place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a city called Nazareth, so that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled, that he should be called a Nazarene. Although today's passage was from verses 13 to 23 of chapter 2, I'm going to focus my thoughts on verses 13 through 18. In 5 short verses, Matthew narrates the profound tragedies of the flight of Joseph, Mary, and Jesus as refugees to Egypt, and the brutal murder of babies in Bethlehem by Herod. God uses Egypt to protect his son, just as he used Egypt to protect Joseph in the Old Testament, and then save Jacob's family from famine. See Genesis chapter 40 through 50. Matthew relates these events in a way that highlights 2 central motifs of Israel's story in the Old Testament. God brings his people out of Egypt, and God delivers his people from oppression. Matthew guides our interpretation of each tragedy through a citation from an Old Testament prophet. First, he uses Hosea 11:1 to help us interpret the flight to Egypt. You can see Matthew 2:15 where the citation occurs. In Hosea, this verse recalls the beginning of Israel's story, one which ended in faithfulness and exile. I'm going to read from Hosea 11:1 through 2 here. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. The more they were called, the more they went away. They kept sacrificing to the Baals and burning offering to idols. Yet Hosea continues to promise that Israel will be regathered and restored, that exile will not be the end of her story. For instance, in Hosea 11:10 through 11, Hosea writes, His children shall come trembling from the west, and they shall come trembling like birds from Egypt, and like doves from the land of Assyria. And I will return them to their homes, declares the Lord. Similarly, the citation from Jeremiah 31:15, which Matthew uses to help us understand Herod's slaughter of the innocents, comes from a similar context. In Jeremiah, Rachel, who was originally the wife of Jacob, who was also the mother of Benjamin and Joseph in the Old Testament, in Jeremiah, Rachel weeps for the destruction of the people of Israel by the Babylonians, which, as in Hosea, was a consequence for their breaking their covenant with God. Yet the very next lines in Jeremiah are a promise that God will regather and restore. So in Jeremiah 31:16, Jeremiah writes, "Keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there is a reward for your work, declares the Lord, and they shall come back from the land of the enemy." Matthew, therefore, does not merely cite these passages to show that Jesus, quote, fulfills prophecies or reenacts Israel's story, though those things are true. Rather, the combination of these verses hint at what will be a feature of Matthew's story. Jesus comes to restore Israel and deliver her from the covenant curses and the oppression she has experienced and even continues to experience under Herod. Even when Herod brutally slaughters the innocent, God is at work to save his people. God's work of redemption fits the pattern of how he has always worked on his people's behalf. And yet now God exceeds what he has done before. For the son whom he brings out of Egypt is his son, who will reverse the story of betrayal that Hosea narrated and fulfill the work of restoration that Jeremiah anticipated.